There's only a 500 radius planet as well, the desert map, and with half of the planet covered in in mountains, there's not a lot of space between the players. But we are now launching into the game, so let us get this up and running and take a look at the planet that we have been talking about for quite a while now. Show you what it is we have been talking about.
Now, of course, this is the Kimberly 1v1 made by Kimberly himself, and it looks like, well, it's a beautiful planet. I'm not gonna lie, I really like it because it reminds me of the good old days of on Hephaestus, aka Forge, where you've just got a nice little close proximity kind of 1v1 match where if someone tries to go docks, if you get the contained set, you can just murder hundreds of docks, and it is the most gratifying feeling, especially as a slow push commander like myself, where you can just kind of hoard the docks into a nice little ball, brutally murder them, and then walk away just feeling so good about yourself. But it looks like we are having players finally spawn into this match.
Yes, and we see we've got Mars at one end in the bright yellow, and we've got Matiz over here in the blue, and both players going for an early dock start. So we're going to see some harassment. So we're going to be contesting for the center, perhaps, or this is going to be early grenadiers. But I expect to see this is going docks, and Mott already queuing up his second bot factory.
Now, you know these are two well-bred players because, fun little fact though, if you spawn on top of the little island that is where these two players can actually spawn, you actually can't build anything there. And I've seen this about 2 or 3 times where commanders will just spawn on top of that, just why not? It's a nice little spot. You can get the early metal extractors, and they can't build anything there. So you'll see this commander just kind of dancing around for 2 or 3 seconds, just trying to figure out where I can place the early factory. And then they finally realize, oh, I got to walk down the hill, actually build the units. And by the time that's happened, the other players just got like 3 or 4 factories out, just kind of walking towards your base, like, well, time to die, I guess.
Yeah, well, both players clearly have been practicing this map, neither than falling into that trap that I'm ashamed to say that I myself have fallen into as well.
Oh, what are you, good at this game or something?
Well, it is there, starting out with a nice early eco lead to get his docks going out now. Both players starting to send their docks out. Mott, though, going for wide flanking maneuvers here. He's desperately, he's expecting to surprise Matisse, sending out large groups, so Matisse's docks are going to get picked off, that then they're going to make it through to the Fabbers unless something goes horribly wrong. Mott, though, Mott struggling a bit for metal there. Surprise loss of metal for a little while there. Matisse clearly got his opening well under control.
I was going to say, if we look at the queued up choices here from Matisse, we actually do see a vehicle factory, so definitely the tank's going to be part of this match. I mean, it's basically Forge. I'm just going to call it Forge, even though it is called Peace. Rest in pieces, I guess. But that was, I think, the first time that I've actually seen the bots go from the very northern and southern kind of routes for this map. I don't think I've ever really seen that from many players. So interesting choices from Mott to try and just get that super big wraparound. And he's actually going to get some connections here. This fabricator going to get killed off. These 2 bots, I don't think they'll be able to kill off an entire metal extractor by themselves, but these 3 sort of might get something done here. They're trying to just wiggle over to get the reinforcements to their 2 Doc's brethren, but it looks like they are going to get caught off here, and the 2 that did such a big, especially on a skill level of this, losing 1 fabricator is huge. They do get the fabricator.
No, absolutely. It's a nice play by Mott there. That's Matisse trying to position his units around the base, but he didn't have vision. He didn't see any of these raiding parties coming in, and there's a very exposed fabricator actually on the front lines there. So, and we're just getting news, in fact, that Patar has cleaned up his game in the quarterfinals. He is going through into the
my bracket
with a 2-0 clean sweep over Cassell there. But back to this game here, we see now Mott the one making all the moves right now. Matisse very much a macro play. He's going to try and boom his economy, and then he will sweep him with large forces later on. So Mott sensibly putting the pressure on him early on. Always a good move against the master of macro.
Definitely, and actually a bomber here out of Matisse, a very smart choice here. This bomber going to clean a lot of things up. Of course, as I mentioned before, before the stream decided to commit Sudoku, the bombers just have the docks, excuse me, have a really interesting way of playing Russian roulette. Either they absolutely annihilate the bomber, but actually, hang on a minute, this bomber, it smells blood, it smells fabricators in the water, and it will go in. Oh,
there's 2 more.
There's another one. Oh, he gets one. He's gonna go for the.
There's nothing. There's nothing. The Mott has to stop this.
Absolutely. The brutality.
Yep. That was harsh. That was bad loss by Mott there. unfortunately hasn't got any air or indeed any anti-air at all, and that's a bit of a whoopsie by him there, really. Needs something, an air factory, a single air turret around there somewhere to handle this, but yeah, absolutely unprepared for that, and that is going to hurt.
At this point, I would really like to see Mott just decide to start walking his commander towards one of these islands of metal, because at this point, a lot has been lost. For those of you that don't understand, 1 or 2 fabricators can literally mean the win or loss against players like this. So one fabricator, you don't get the metal, you have to spend time rebuilding the metal, and it's just a lot of lost mining time, a lot of lost building time for other units. And at this point, actually, Mott with some very strong map control, I think he really does need to start pushing this out. Matisse with the stronger economy, but looking at the map presence here, Mott is just all over this base, and I would really like to see him try and take at least one of these island metals, or these metal island location thingies, just so we can have the stronger economy in the later game.
Well, we see the transition now, and transition from Mott into vehicles, and he's starting to switch to the Grenadiers as well. Mathias already into his vehicle transition, though it hasn't changed to Grenadiers, sticking with the docks, surprisingly. Since I have to say, I think the Grenadiers work better with tanks, but perhaps there's concern about the level of raiding he's seeing from Mott, so wants that flexibility. But certainly, I would not surprised to see them shift into vehicles now. A lot of aggressive early docks play, but as it goes on, they're going to get captured into these. There's a lot of bottlenecks here, so you need the tanks. They've got the range, and when they can critical mass them, those docks are going to get shredded.
Now these docks, oh, I was going to say they're going to try and just outrun death, but that bomber was just slightly quicker. I was hoping it would try and get that last fabricator, but it just didn't have the extra oomph. Now, I like this choice here out of Mott to add flame tanks instead of just straight bolos. The decision to have the Inferno tanks, use the Inferno tanks besides the bolos. Interesting choice, of course. A lot of the, I don't know what's with the targeting, but a lot of the units just love to try and kill off Infernos instead of the actual meaty army part that Mott is running with this composition here. Now, the army from the, I guess the high northern side up there near Santa Claus is going to start moving down here, and if not seen by Mott, will be devastating. That will just be another tack in the, oh God, I'm in some serious crap here.
Well, while Ghost refines his tongue, some
I was trying to phrase it properly.
Some poor bomber play there by Matisse. I think he was targeting something specifically. He saw the bomber slow down on its run, which unfortunately meant that all 3 of them got picked off by the docks in their approach. And actually, to my surprise, it's Mott who's making the aggressive central play with his commanders, starting to set up some more factories. And while Matisse has had an eco lead, he has been floating a lot of that eco lead, so the gap between them, not as big as it could be. In terms of army size, relatively similar. So this central presence here from Mott could be decisive, because there's a lot of metal in the centre. But Matisse now attacking around the back, but Mott has that under control with his docks force. So but kept all of that protected. Both players looking pretty even. Matisse got the eco lead, but if Mott can turn this central lockdown into something, that could quickly change.
I was going to say, while they are almost identical, map-wise, they are very different. Mott with the very forward commander securing, I mean, he doesn't have the island metal just yet, but just having his commander there is going to guarantee so much protection for his units. The only problem that I see is these docks that are now starting to run from the southern side of this base. Mott does realize this as he starts moving a lot of his units back. It looks like Matisse is actually going to start moving his commander towards Mott, so we might see, even on a planet like this, a little bit of comboxing. Oh, his commander is very exposed.
Mott moves forward there, and that's a terrible idea. He has no protection, he's got no backup, he's got no walls, and I think Matisse is going to take the game.
That's a death. That's a dead commander.
That is just terrible positioning. What was he doing there? And Matisse takes Mott just throwing the game away.
That was, wow, that was a bad.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not what you do.
Well, even without that, we see that Matisse was running rampant around the back of Mott's base there. Unfortunately, Mott, even though he had radar coverage, caught severely out of position as that Doc's force came in. Probably lost 3 or 4 Fabbers as well, who were also well out of position. Although, no, it looks like Matisse didn't pursue them. I don't know why Mott's commander was going forward. I don't know if that's a misclick or he's made
I think it was a misclick.
I can't imagine why I'd want to give it an order to move forward. Unless he just thought there wasn't anything there, but yeah, walked straight into the jaws of death.
Looking at his map vision from about 8 minutes 20 seconds there, he was just moving his commander, I think, to just kind of build up some walls and some turrets, but then suddenly, hey, there's an entire army there.
Yeah, just I'm Yeah, no idea. Kind of lost words there. Not really sure what Mott was doing. He looked to have a pretty good position to me. It was a bit of a cock up letting that Dogs force around the back of his base. Should have been a bit smarter responding to that. Really no reason to let them get there. And indeed, especially as Matiz using the flanking maneuvers that Mott had used so successfully early on. Really was, even if Mott hadn't lost his commander, I think he'd have been in real trouble. He was going to lose every metal extractor around the back of that base.
I don't know. I think if Mott would have just moved his dogs over the island, just kind of said, "All right, I'm going to lose those like 5 metal extractors." You know, it's going to be bad, but he still had control of that island. I mean, that island metal, those 8 metal extractors would have been absolutely fantastic for, you know, just getting that extra oomph to really put Matisse on the back foot. I mean, obviously losing those metal extractors, yeah, it would have been bad, but that misclick, I don't know why he would think that. Okay, you know, I know my opponent's on the other side of this mountain face. I probably should just start walking towards him anyways.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the stats for the, let's what, about 8 minutes 30, just before the commander went down. Very, I mean, Matisse taking a bit of a factory lead, but in terms of troops, armies, very even. Again, economy Mott behind the factory because he's not spending all of his eco very well. But just, yeah, absolutely mystified. I can only assume misclick, or he decided that because Matisse was around the back, Matisse didn't have any forces up the front, and he was going to try and wall across those metal spots.
Yeah, but at that point, he should have known the caliber of player that he was going against. I mean, having your opponent, what, at anything besides 100%, like, he should have known, or at least played a lot more cautious to the, you know, throwing some caution to the wind here. He should have known, okay, there's, my opponent's base is literally on the other side of this map. There could be a commander there, there could be pelters there could be, you know, tier 2 nukes, because why not, you know? He should have just been a lot more cautious, at least.